Yo, what's up, everybody? I know you guys just seen us in a previous series, but we do got another series to bring you guys. KCA versus Forfeit at 20 is up here. So we have some returning players in Frozen Ace, and I believe Loki might have subbed last split. But overall, a bunch of new players here to showcase today in this series. This is a BO3 Fearless with locking out whoever gets picked is therefore not allowed into the next game. Let me pull up the draft. Here we go. Sorry about that. And we are in draft here. KCA targeting the Jax and the Garen. I assume this is kind of picks for both jungle and top, and even Wukong as well. And Forfeit at 20 targets the AD player, Golden Sunset, getting rid of the Jhin and the Tristana, and then the York, which I know is a really, really strong jungler recently. I think we've seen it in one of our first series pop off here. So that is off the table. And looks like KCA is going to end up grabbing the Tom Kench here to start off this draft. I don't know much, to be honest, about either one of these teams. I know Frozen Ace has been a main staple jungler in the league for quite some time here, so I am familiar with him, but the rest of the players I am not. I know Mage Hand was supposed to be playing, but as you can hear in the background, he's on tour with his band Rematch here, which actually I'm going to have the pleasure of seeing Saturday night. So they do have a sub in the support role. And yeah, so that's what's going on. So Tom Kench first pick, forfeit at 20, then goes to the Ezreal Vi. We've seen Frozen on the Vi before. He can play a lot of different junglers quite well, but definitely loves the engaged playmaking junglers like Vi, a Moo, Warwick, those type of things. So we do see KCA then picking the Kaisa here, which is interesting. I think Vi actually does quite well in the Kaisa, and Ezreal does outrange her in lane. So I feel like KCA is kind of prepping a dive comp, but honestly, Vi being one of the premier divers to start off that comp has already been picked away. So this could be more of a comfort pick. Uh, Note that like two ADCs were already taken off, so maybe this is just his third pick, and he just doesn't want to risk it getting banned away here in the second rotation. And then we see a Viego coming out. So Viego Kaisa, kind of a mini dive comp here. Nothing nothing wrong with that. And then it looks like a Echo getting picked here by the team of Forfeit at 20. Which I believe this is going to be an Echo mid, unless we see some like support Vi or top lane Vi shenanigans. Echo mid, not a pick that we see too often. And actually, I do have quite a bit of time. I used to one trick Echo back in like the season 5, 6, 7 days. He is probably my favorite champion, so I love seeing him come out and play mid. He just unfortunately doesn't bring enough utility to the table, and it feels like he doesn't just bring anything really to a team comp outside of damage. He can he's one of the rare like AP champs like Diana that can split push quite heavily. So he can definitely be the 1 in the 4-1 here. But he also scales quite well. He just starts off really slow. And he loves a fast tempo game, but he just doesn't have the stats to like brawl early game. Unless he just gets ahead and snowballs. We see forfeit getting rid of some of the decent echo counters. Mel can block the Q, block the E, since they're all pretty simultaneously. And Galio, it's just impossible to move Galio. Once he gets Hollow Radiance, he just wave clears just as easily as you can. And you don't have the mana bar to take all night to kill this Galio. So, we do see the Rakan coming out after the second ban phase for FF. But I do like the Poppy pickup here. Poppy being able to get rid of a lot of dashes from Vi, Echo, Rakan. And Echo doesn't mind getting the E stopped just because he can still blink, but it's just the fact that Poppy can ground you afterwards. And then here's one of the kind of legacy answers to Echo if this does get locked in. Because Lissandra just brings a boatload of CC. Echo can push her around in the laning phase quite easily. But Lissandra, if she can just keep everything at just kind of an even game state, she gets into the mid game with some CDR. She just ults Echo every time. So let's see what FFF20 picks here. This is probably going to be a top lane pick. I would expect them to pick like some type of super tank, maybe like a Cho'Gath, just because KCA doesn't have the most amount of damage. Like Kai'Sa does respectable damage and does scale, but overall, like it's just really hard for them to deal and chop down a big super tank, especially if they're on even or ahead. Going into post scrubs, Otacon. So we will see what happens here. And there's low-key chance, since I don't know these players, that could be like a solo lane Kench support Lissandra. So we'll see what happens there. Lissandra is a pretty big answer to Rakan as well. Like once he dives in, you just press W and it stops everything Rakan wants to do. But overall, I think really, really nice comfort picks from both of these teams here. And we'll see what ends up happening. I do fear for KCA if they do try to start a fight or go forward, because you're going forward into Rakan Cho'Gath and potentially like an Echo Stun zoning you out a little bit. So I think if KCA can play these team fights really slow, maybe wait for forfeit of 20 to engage into them, they have the upper hand and they can definitely lock down people and get them. Yeah, these two team names are pretty goated. This is Kappachungus, Clungus, Amongus. Say that 5 times fast, or just don't. But I'm just gonna say KCA, because I'm putting up the white flag as a caster. I'm not saying that every time. So, and then yeah, the forfeit at 20 is also another good name. And yeah, some of these summoners' names are great. The top laner, as you pointed out, Julia, is fantastic. When I joined the lobby, I could not stop laughing. So, but we'll see. Oh, this is a top lane Tom Kench support Poppy. Alright, that makes things interesting. I feel like this limits the tankiness a little bit. Like, Tom Kench gets super, super tanky. Like, he's great as just a solo frontline tank, but I feel like Poppy's support doesn't get tanky enough quick enough to where like Tom Kench's support just is tanky enough quick enough, if that makes sense. Like I feel like Tom Kench supports do damage, they tank up everything. Like you don't feel a difference when you're playing against Tom Kench, regardless of what role he's in. To where uh, Poppy, you can definitely feel like support Poppy has a hard time getting items. So, but we'll see if this Tom Kench pick limits what Cho'Gath can do top lane. Maybe get a nice early freeze on him, and really makes his life difficult for Cho'Gath. Then that's a really big blow to the FFF20 squad, since that is kind of their only solo tank as well. Rakan, for the most part, can get pretty tanky, especially if he does like the Aftershock variant. But I mean, Cho'Gath, Tom Kench, both of them going to be incredibly tanky. So, can we fix the static on the mic? Maybe. Let's see. Hopefully that helped. Hopefully that helps. I did read that in the server. Sometimes my mic will go staticky for some reason, and I just don't know why. So I'm not seeing it populate in Discord. So see, I'm not seeing it flash up on Discord, so I think the mic might be okay. But I will see what chat has to say. I read that in the server, so maybe they're still watching and can let me know in the chat. I can't have both up, so I will have the Twitch chat up while we're in game here. So, for those viewing who what side do you like? What part of the drafts do you like? Give me something to work with here. I see Dippy, I see Don Don, Eclipse, Julia, Shreets. Like what do we like in these drafts overall? I mean, we see Echo mid, it's not something we see that often. Everything else looks pretty standard. Yep, we do see an Echo mid. An overall pretty good response with the Lysandra mid. Alright, here we go in game here. Let's see. Oh, 900,000 Echo points. Okay, this guy plays some Echo. Frozen bringing the Hail of Blades. And actually, Cho'Gath bringing the Hail of Blades as well. That's going to be quite interesting. I think Cho'Gath would want Grasp and try to, like, play to scale with this Finch. Well, that sucks. Are they still in game? Yeah, they're in game. Spectator just broke on me. Let's try and reload in. Hopefully we didn't miss too much here. Yeah, there we go. Alrighty, here we go. With a Group C matchup, I believe. We got KCA on the blue side and forfeit at 20 on the red side here.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
We've seen them 5-man to get a ward here on the Raptors, which blue side then returns the same ward here.
Minions have spawned.
Let's go Frozen Ace. Got a Frozen Ace fan in the chat. So let's see how this ends up going. Let me zoom out here before I forget. I think you just get a better picture when you zoom out. But I think a lot of this is going to be predicated on this mid lane matchup here. I think if Echo gets ahead and he can start to be very threatening into Lissandra, then he can dictate that wave and ultimately roam with like a lot of effective roaming. But if Lissandra can just start pushing him back and just keep the wave state pretty even and the game slow, then it favors her quite a bit. She also brought Electrocute here, which I'm not 100% sure if that's standard. Typically I see like Airy, Comment. I still see some Aftershock variants as well. We see Poppy ends up Eing in, getting a few auto attacks, and uses the Aftershock to tank that turret shot. So didn't do the most amount of damage. They got a pretty good trade. Decent poke coming from Ezreal here. Cho'Gath kind of clearing the top side of wards, making sure everything's good, no ganks. Vi ends up getting this top scuttle. Looks like Viego might go after this bot scuttle here. If he goes that way, yeah, he gets seen on a ward here. But Echo's coming down with Vi here, so we could potentially see a 2v2 underneath this spot crab. We see some flashes getting burned here. And overall, big poppy W. Frozen is grounded here and ends up giving first blood over to Kaisa, but the Kaisa falls in return here by the Ezreal. Ezreal then Arcane shifts away. We see Lissandra still trying to engage on to Rakan here, so big river team fight. First blood again went over to Kaisa, but then Ezreal got the return kill on her, and that ends up being a 1-for-1 here. Gold at about even. Nice trade here by Echo, seeing that Lissandra's like super low on mana. Both mids trying to just push away. They're both backing here, so you're going to see TPs coming out from both mids. I do think Viego got a slightly better back with the Sheen. And it looks like they're starting up Dragon here. Since their bot lane has Prio, Vi clearing the Raptors and going up to Scuttle, or not Scuttle, to the Void Grubs here that populate here in about 15 seconds. Maybe trying to steal a bot lane camp. And Viego's on Raptors now, so Vi's taking this Wolf, so getting a touch ahead here. Low-key getting jumped on here by Tom Kench, but has a really nice Q away. Echo trying to get a little bit of Prio here to help out the Vi while she's taking the Void Grubs. Now I think that everybody knows that they're going after Void Grubs now. And Cho'Gath numbs the Void Grub but doesn't kill it. That's a wasted R. Interesting. Could have gotten a free monster stack from that. Probably was a misclick, but we'll see. And you see him going after the Symbiotic Soul, so this is going to be probably a movement speed Cho'Gath, which is entertaining as that build is. I don't think it's 100% correct. Like, I think you want to be as tanky as you can get. Like, that's your role in this team comp here. I think you just match Heartsteel with Tom Kench. You both just try to get as much HP as you can and see whose team wins. But big engage here by the Poppy, forcing Rakan to just back away. See Vi kind of sneaking into this mid lane here. Vi is level 6, so we'll see what Frozen wants to do with his first ult. I think that's really going to tell a lot. If he can get a really good gank off with this R, speeds up the tempo of this game quite heavily, but also with no objectives up, he might just want to hold on to it. You see Vi is already up a little bit on CS. I know some of that is the minions he's getting from mid here, but overall, pretty confident he's ahead in experience. Definitely up 300 in the gold, as because that's basically the 300 gold lead that's up top. See Echo going Sheen on this first back, so going Lichbane first. Low-key looking like he's trying to proxy here, but I mean, Tom Kinch does a respectable amount of damage. But nice Q. Overall, Lissandra is roaming up here. But we do have a big bot lane fight here. Decent stun coming out of Poppy here. And Quantum Force ends up falling to the bot lane. And Lissandra roams up and gets a takedown here on the Cho'Gath. So that is feats the combat feats going over to the side of KCA. But here's a ult coming out of Frozen, but XDD ends up using the Viego ult as he's unstoppable during that to get out of that predicament. Well played. KCA's bot lane has this wave pretty frozen. So we'll see what happens here. They might have just broken that freeze. But Rakan's over here trying to fight this off, so see Viego coming down, pushing this little wave. Looks like he's one that gives this bot lane a chance to exit out. We see Echo putting a point in his ult. I know most Echoes now wait to put a point in ults and then like quickly snap ult after doing it so you don't see the shadow. I know it's a fairly well-known Echo trick. We see Loki burning a lot of cooldowns on this wave. We see Lissandra trying to make a play on the Echo here, but couldn't reach it in time. And now they're diving on this Lissandra, who ults herself here, but for the most part, she's going to fall here. Giving the kill over to Ezreal, which is pretty nice. And they're using this tempo to go after Dragon here. See what happens. Looks like a 3v3 in the bot lane. Waiting for Poppy to use W here, but she doesn't bite on the Vi Q charge up. Rakan doesn't have ult. We do see Echo TPing here to the Dragon Pit. So there's a W coming out. Echo's going to W over the wall here. Vi ult comes out. They end up knocking out Viego. Poppy ults 2 away here. But let's see if Echo can get out of this. Ult's back. And that's it from him. But Lissandra, oh, I thought she was going to take that E in. Her ult was not up. I think if her ult's up, she definitely goes for that play. But that ends up being a 1 for 2 in favor of forfeit at 20 years. Frozen did fall after diving in. So neither team has enough tempo to go after this dragon. So it's still up, still probably going to be contested. Tom Kinch doing his best to push this Cho'Gath around, which he's going to be able to do until this Cho'Gath gets a few more items. We do see the Lissandra going after the Malignant, so valuing this ult quite heavily. KCA now with the bot lane backing for forfeit at 20 is going to give up this Mountain Dragon. This is definitely a dragon they did not want to give up for the side of forfeit, since the Poppy is itemizing, very tanky, and
Turret plating
Tom Kench
will
is,
soon fall.
going to be a massive tank as well. So while it's only one Mountain Drake, it's still a decent amount of tank stats and scales pretty well with this comp. See Loki trying to all in this Tom Kench, but this ends up being just a just a nonchalant tank fight. Just nothing gonna happen there. See Viego's bot side using the vision from the Otacon walls here. You see him flashing on top of Ezreal, but Ezreal flashing away, and ultimately both of them get out pretty unscathed, going back to their turret. But we see them attacking this top lane to get that turret, so that's now first turret over to the side of forfeited 20. So I think at this feats of strength now comes down to whoever gets the next monster objective, as both of them are sitting on two dragons for KCA and 2 sets of grubs for the side of forfeited 20. But here comes Viego again. You see Cho'Gath TPing to hopefully help his bot lane here. Shutdown goes over to Kai'Sa. Cho'Gath TP's down, but overall is just a little too late. Start to see some defensive stats now coming out of this Cho'Gath here. I think it's going to go a long way now. You see Rakan diving in and ends up getting CC'd up. You see the stun coming out by Echo. Rakan pops ult but doesn't charm anybody, goes in and then gets CC'd again, as Lissandra's cooldowns are not very long. And now it looks like KCA is going to look after this Rift Herald. Kai'Sa dives onto this Ezreal down here. Looks like she's going to end up taking him out. But this Rift Herald is going to end up being feats of strength. Echo puts the W out. See what happens there. Nothing. And it looks like they're just going to give here. And that should be feats of strength. Yep, feats of strength going over to KCA with that Rift Herald take. Stun coming out of tracks on this Echo here, but we see Frozen getting stunned up quite heavily. They're going after this Lissandra, and they end up taking her out. Frozen gets out with just a sliver of health. Big ult back on Echo, and look at them turn this fight around as Loki gets an ult here. And what a big turnaround. Starts off with Echo W stunning a Poppy, but then Frozen dives in, gets CC'd by everything, including the kitchen sink, and ends up getting away. And the big Echo ult coming back in combo with Loki's Cho'Gath ult was massive. And they managed to take care of Lissandra quickly as she used ult on Frozen, so she had no way of playing it defensively. see Rakan posturing for the ult here. It knocks up Poppy, charms up Viego. See the TP for the Tom Kench coming back. They dropped Rift Herald, but didn't defend it, so that's a Rift Herald going over. I'm actually surprised Cho'Gath didn't ult that to get a free monster stack as well. A little bit of mid-maxing on this Cho'Gath. They might reassess, but I mean, if Cho'Gath ults this dragon, it's still net even there. Oh, but Frozen ends up catching out Kai'Sa here, forcing her to flash. They can walk in here since the majority of this team, especially the backline, is at a half health. Excuse me. And that is the third dragon going over to the side of forfeit at 20. Cho'Gath does ult that, so now he is at, let me see, he's at 5 stacks. Looks like they're trying to get Tom Kench out of here, but he is by himself. It's going to end up being a 5v1. And the big shutdown going over to Echo. That is massive. Echo is one of the most snowballiest champions in the game. So. But looks like they're trying to defend this mid turret here. Now let's see, since we got a touch of downtime here, ends up being 7 kills to 6, but the goal lead in favor of forfeit at 20, as they're up by just a little under 2k here. Cho'Gath on 2 items, Vi on 1, Echo most of the way towards the second item. Looks like he's going Nashor's 2 second, which I tend to favor that build quite a bit. Definitely sets him up to split push or team fight. It does give them best of both worlds there. Kai'Sa though on 2 items, where Ezreal's just halfway to his second. And the supports are pretty much even here, so some gold getting allocated towards the carries here on both sides. But we see Vi jumping on this Viego here, and he ends up ulting out. Rakan follows over, but could not keep the engage going. But all in all, just a trade of cooldowns coming out, as there's no Vi ult, there's no Viego ult coming out. Lissandra still has ult, Echo does as well, Cho'Gath still does. No Rakan ult either, so I think blue team could try to posture to walk into this with Tom Kench. I don't know why Tom Kench is the one clearing the waves. Lissandra can just queue it. But Lissandra's main engage tool is down now with the E. So let's see where this goes. Oh! But Cho'Gath ends up getting a flank here. And ends up nomming on Lissandra, so she didn't even get a chance to ult. But Ezreal gets caught out by the Tom Kench and ends up falling, so carry for carry here as the mid laner and ADC get traded on this side. So we're still sitting here posturing for what I would consider not much. Neither team really has the fastest Otacon take. Let's see. I see the blue team posturing here for Otacon. We'll see if they can move in and get some of that vision back. But you've got Echo pushing top lane here. He's going to be able to melt towers with this Nashor's Tooth. And actually, Nashor's Tooth allows him to be able to trade with Tahm Kench in and out quite effectively. But this is also Echo with 6 grubs, by the way. He E's that turret, it's gone. And I think there's a world where he could actually, like, with a couple of like big passive procs, he can cut through this Tahm Kench. He doesn't have any MR. Here is forfeit at 20, starting up this dragon here. This will be their second dragon, but they also don't want KCA to get to put themselves on soul point with the next one here. So Echo ends up pushing mid. Minions are most likely going to take that turret, or at least do a bullet of damage. See what happens here. Frozen ends up getting the dragon, and here's the ensuing fight here, as Ezreal's getting soloed out by Tahm Kench, and Kai'Sa dives in the back to help him take it out. Echo had the ult and flash away here. And now it looks like they're going after Otacon. Frozen, though, using this opportunity to push his mid wave, potentially get this mid turret. But here's Tahm Kench to stop him. Echo now TPing over here. Cho'Gath does have ult, by the way. Uses it on Lissandra, though. Echo passive can do quite a bit of damage to this Otacon. See if he can get the final passive proc on the Poppy. Doesn't, but Frozen has ult back up. Takes out the Kai'Sa. Let's see, Echo ends up getting the speed boost here. And overall, takes out Viego. So what a disjointed fight, kind of for both teams, but Forfeit ended up pulling the trigger here with this Viol, and they end up getting the Otacon as well, which this is actually the GA Otacon. It's probably the first time, maybe the only time, we see this Otacon pop up. Oh. Oh, we see Echo's GA kind of getting popped there from Tahm Kench. I'm not sure if the idea was try and ult back and get away, and he just misjudged the damage. But he did at least burn Tahm Kench flash. A nice sidestep here by Viego, but he ends up ulting away. Ezreal comes in, does a little bit of damage here. So overall, without Tahm Kench in the group, it's very hard for KCA to walk into their jungle right now. I mean, but this Cho'Gath is getting a boatload of flanks here. When they pull the trigger onto this Viego, Cho'Gath ends up ulting the Viego when he flies away. And now they might be looking at Baron here, potentially. I don't think they can do it, because the Baron take is not great. And that would have been a big stun by Echo if he had just gotten into that parallel convergence. But here they are starting up the Baron. I think it's a good call seeing that Kaisa is mid here. And Cho'Gath ult's coming back up, so he'll be able to at least get another stack here. And that's quite a few stacks coming out of Cho'Gath the last couple of ults. So let's see, he's now up to 9 stacks with only 2 minions chomped, so he can get up to 13 stacks whenever he so chooses. And overall, this is a 6,000 gold lead now for Forfeit at 20. On the backside of a really good mid-jungle duo with Traxix and Frozen Ace here. Looking at the build so far, we start to see Cho'Gath get pretty tanky. Now getting some defensive items here. Yo, say the Ezreal's name. I cannot. His name is Ezreal today. So, it's El Habibi. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. There you go. That's your one chance. We see them going on this Tahm Kench, but this Kench is pretty tanky here. They blew a lot of cooldowns here. Cho'Gath gets booted away, so there goes their front line. And they had to ultimately just kind of back up off this fight. Echo is pushing top lane here. And this is the point of the game where Echo is going to be able to outpush any real mage to just send over there. In this case, Lysandre's got nothing but pen. Decent stun coming out of Poppy after blocking Rakan W. See Frozen getting ignited. Big engage coming out, and that ends up being unstoppable on low-key as he ults that away. So Kench doing what he can the front line, but there's just not much return damage. At least not effective damage, as Cho'Gath is also kind of frontlining this. But we see Rakan just kind of walk in and get hit there. Vi went back for Dragon, so I think this push ends up getting done with. But we see Echo becoming now a menace in his top lane. Now it's a really hard position for KCA to be in, because the only person that can really match this Echo split push is Tahm Kench. But yet Tahm Kench has the front line to allow his team to move up. I kind of low-key would have liked to see what Kaisa would have done speccing into AP here. Maybe doing something like a static Shiv into like Luna's Companion. I know there's still some hybrid builds out there, but I think she can get a decent amount of effective damage with AP. Especially if Cho'Gath is just kind of somewhere else. Like there's nobody else that can really tank the poke. But now we see a monster pickup by his Echo with a death cap now. I'm kind of sus on the Lysandre build here. Like, I get the theory behind it, but there's not much you're going to burst out with Malignant's Shadow Flame. I think the double burn build, considering you're into basically quad melee champs, gives you a lot more effective damage, gives you similar numbers on the cooldown, but also helps you wave clear even better when you're on the back foot. So let's see what we got here with that triple Fire Drake plus Death Cap. This Echo's AP numbers are going to be pretty off the chart. Yeah, 682 at 3 items is kind of massive. We see the Shirelli is getting popped by the Cho'Gath. Ezreal comes out, doesn't get the most amount of damage. Knockup coming onto Poppy here. Misses the silence here. Misses the knockup as well, so a little bit of posturing in the opponent's jungle. Here they're going to steal this blue buff, which is pretty massive. Echo's their bot lane. The Unending Despair getting picked up by Tom Kench I think is pretty good to fight Echo in the split. Here it does give him a little bit of MR outside of the boots. But any extended trade that Echo wants, now Tom Kench spec'd into as well. Oh, but we see the Lysandra ult having to get popped here after Cho'Gath hit him with the knockup. We see Echo brawling with this Tom Kench in the bot lane. Neither champion really moving their line in the sand here. I do like this Seeker's Armguard picked up by Lysandra. Now she can definitely make the first move here and do some like dive in to start team fights. But this bot lane turret is just like one wave away from just falling. See the blue team trying to get some ward coverage in the jungle here so they can walk in safely. But without this Tom Kench, they're on pins and needles trying to get some type of vision control in. We see Kaisa ends up getting absolutely deleted by the Vi Echo combo. Nice knockup from the Cho'Gath overall. I'm sorry, that was Tom Kench. Tom Kench gets nommed on by Cho. And Trax is now unstoppable on this Echo 5-0-6. Like, what a clean fight picked there by Frozen. Showing shades of Frozen from a few splits ago. Look at the shield by Echo now. He's at this point in time where he can kind of just do whatever he wants. Nice blast cone overall. Three-manning this Baron. Echo can go actually after this dragon here. Echo passive still works quite heavily on jungle monsters, so he takes him pretty quickly, even without smite. And actually, I think at this point in the game, if he times his passive correctly, he outsmites junglers. So, and that ends up being a quad Infernal Drake plus Soul coming up. So these Infernal Soul procs are going to do so much damage. I'm actually also curious, I commented earlier about Kaisa speccing in the AP. I think if you do like a hybrid build, you could have went to Zanya's as well, because I think that's the one thing, like with Vi, Rakan, you could Zanya's the engage and then potentially like push it back. Oh, big knockup by Cho'Gath. Nice poppy ult. Tom Kench ult gets used to save Viego as well. So a couple ults getting used there. Loki's now on 13 stacks. Probably still has only chopped one minion, so he's got 3 more free stacks he can use. But I don't think he cares about those right now. Lysandra trying to wave clear this mid wave, but into Baron minions, it's very hard for mages to take care of those. And that's going to end up being an inhib going down. Bot turret looks like it's pretty close to getting down. Poppy stunning off of that little base pillar was actually pretty clean here. They end up taking out Rakan. Cho'Gath is going to fall here, potentially. No, or does fall to Viego. Viego ends up taking Cho'Gath. But Frozen is absolutely man-moding this backline here, by the way. Ezreal swapping places with Kench. That's pretty clean. But Echo doing what he can. um, to take out Tom Kinch here, and the just leaves Poppy up. Which Poppy ends up taking care of the Ezreal here. Look at that massive shield on Echo. And that ends up being an ace for forfeit at 20 here. On the back of an 806 Echo, 7-2 with 5 Cho'Gath, and some really, really solid engages by Frozen there. So let's just end up going over here to just the clients real quick. And the damage from all the members of Forfeit at 20 are pretty high. Frozen probably racked up half of that in that last team fight. So, really, really good showing by this Forfeit at 20 team. Frozen kind of turning back time there. What is this team name? Which one? Is Kappachungus Amongus or Forfeit at 20? Look, it's their team name. I can't choose it. And what game is this? That was game 1, which went in favor of Forfeit at 20. So they're up 1-0 in this best of 3. Alright, let me end up pulling this draft up here. Let me go over to the draft. Alright, let's see what KCA responds with. Who's been the most impressive team this season so far? Well, it's only week 1, and we have not seen all of the teams play. I think so far, let me see who all has played. I know I've casted, well, all of the games, but it's so many games it's hard to remember. Especially these new teams, I don't have them remembered by name. Happy Jellyfish earlier tonight looked pretty impressive. Group C. Hidden Leaf against TLT. That was a pretty decisive victory by Hidden Leaf. I know TLT ended up forfeiting game 2 because the ADC was having some connections issues. But game 1, Hidden Leaf showcased a lot of mechanical prowess here. I know we still have a bunch of really talented teams. Vibe Check versus Cal Poly is going to be a big Group B matchup. Both teams made the playoff, and Vibe Check has a lot of returning members from the championship squad. Last 2 splits, 5 Big Booms has some of the other members of Sad Jellyfish who have been nothing but impressive. They're tenured in the league. Coin Flip Instinct, both teams were playoff teams. Last split, Coin Flip had the perfect 5-0, 10-0 regular season. So, I mean, there's some impressive teams in all of the groups, but the most impressive, I think, week 1, Happy Jellyfish put on quite a show in the series before this, and looked very, very decisive. But again, not all the week 1 series are done with, so we'll see what happens. You're welcome, Julia. I think you had a really, really good series. It wasn't the traditional, AD just kind of jumps on Rurika's back. I mean, you were what 9-0 the first game on the Jin, and had a uh, really good tower defense off a dive. So it was pretty cool. It was a good, solid series overall. I think you might though be you're only go as far as you can carry your mid laner. That's where I think Julia, you're gonna have to put him on your back a little bit. He got you one win, I'll give him that, but the rest of the season, I think it comes down to you and more cutie. All right, here we are, starting in the draft for Game Two. Again, FF at 20 is up 1-0 here. KCA banning the Jax, Garen, and Yasuo. Interesting bans. Again, I don't know too much about these players outside of Frozen. But banning Jax and Garen, you're like, okay, I want to get rid of the easy champs, and then Yasuo, that just completely breaks that thought process. Though I think if you're gonna ban Yasuo, just ban Diana, and then Yasuo really can't play the game outside of maybe Malphite pairing. But for the side of forfeit at 20, we've got Jin, Tristana, York, which is the same three bans as last game. We see an Ashe pick here, followed up by an Aphelios and a Jarvan. Okay, so Frozen kind of keeping on the same moniker of just like, I'm going to pick team fight champs and engage champs, and I'm going to be my team's go button here. So, really, really aggressive pick coming out of Frozen, which I think he's allowed to do that after that last game. He had some really, really solid engages on the Vi. In response, we see KCA with the Lee Sin pickup. So Lee Sin, not a champion I see too often. I know there is some Lee Sin players in the league. Actually, my partner in crime, Hair Wiz, is one of them. And Chengi last year pulled out a really clean Lee Sin. But it's just not a champion that really likes. It only scales with skill. It doesn't scale in game with items or time or anything like that. If anything, it gets worse the later into the game it goes. But if you can pull it off early game, you can snowball a game quite well. Uh, we see Braum coming out for KCA, so we got the Frail and Yord bot lane, Ashe Braum here, and then Rel coming in, kind of being the Bash brother partner with Tom Kinch here, or I'm sorry, with Jarvan. We see Silas getting taken away here in the second ban phase. Silas does pretty well with Jarvan, all pretty well with Rel ult, and my guess is they've got some other ults coming in the draft that they don't want to see it in. We see the Camille ban coming out here. We've seen Camille played pretty well by Dippy earlier today. Really good team fighter, really good skirmisher, split pusher. Just kind of does everything quite well if you can get the most out of the champion. And then a Galio ban coming out, so don't want anything to turn back the engages from Rel Jarvan, because Galio can definitely do that. Do it quite well. And Tryndamere ban. Okay, that is a Tryndamere ban. Alright. So maybe Loki has a little bit of a Tryndamere in his back pocket here. But definitely quite a bit of top lane bans. I do see the Akali coming out here. See if this gets locked in. Nope, the Ari. I was gonna say, I felt like Akali like is decent, but you get revealed by Lee Sin E, I believe. So it's really hard to make that work, especially in the 2v2. So Ari a little bit of a safer pick. The charm works well in the Braum, Lee Sin. If you Ari Jarvan is like more of a more of like a Timu Ari Vi, and then Nasus. Interesting. Are we bringing back the Nasus mid? Question mark. Nope. This is a top lane Nasus. All right. We seen him play Tom Kench. Why not the Nasus? And a LeBlanc cover. And that ends up being a lock-in here. So LeBlanc being the answer to Ari. Pretty skill-expressive matchup. Ari kind of wins the first early levels. And then LeBlanc can start to burst her down until Ari's Roa stacks and she gets like Merc Treads. No, can't pick Cho'Gath. I actually kind of like the Malphite pick here. Like, you're mostly AD and health. Stacks well into LeBlanc. I mean, you get just a limited MR. But it's really good. Alright, see what chat's popping off. Yeah, thank you, Julia, for answering that. This is game 2. The score so far is 1-0 in favor of forfeit at 20. This is a best of 3. So, Malphite being the R5 here, which kind of explains the 4 or 5 bans in Silas Gallios. I guess they wanted Malphite on the table. Malphite, though, has a really hard time stopping Nasus from stacking, so maybe they're just okay with it. Aphelios is one of the few ADCs that I think really does well with team comps that just run at him, and that's primarily what Nasus likes to do. So if you can create this front line in front of Aphelios, he can get all the time in the world. There's not really too much engage coming out of KCA. They just, if they're going to pick a fight, they have to run at you. So they did not really punish this Aphelios pick the most optimal way. Say the name CLT. Which one? Forfeit at 20? There, I said the name. Nope, the other one. Kappachungus, Clungus, Amongus. That one? Yeah, that one. Okay, yeah, you're only getting it once. And if I didn't pronounce it right, sorry, I'll try again next time. I feel like the forfeit of 20 is an identity crisis. I do agree with that. Aphelios not the greatest one to go with those 4 champions, but there's nothing threatening him on the other side, so I feel like any AD carry's fine here. Like, unless you have just like an ungodly Lee Sin engage where you kick out the Aphelios, there's just nothing anybody else can do. LeBlanc might eat him up. I mean, possibly. If LeBlanc gets off the ground, she runs games over. Like, totally accepting that. As a mid laner, I've gotten my ass kicked plenty of times by a good LeBlanc. Everybody who plays mid has. But it just feels like it feels like this forfeit at 20 draft just doesn't care if it's an even game or even if they're just a touch behind. Like, the gold has to go to the right spots for them to really feel threatened. But overall, I mean, unless Ari J4 just pick a really bad 2v2 and lose it hard to Lisa and LeBlanc, they're okay with just kind of giving away some resources, maybe defending an invade but not fighting, and just being okay with this game going to 25-30 minutes. So we'll see here. I am if KCA plays the early game well, get some resources. Say they fight over a drag, get the first one, maybe get split grubs 4-2, and some of those resources on the fight go over the Nasus. I think for the most part, there's not a clear-cut easy win condition for them. I mean, Lisa and LeBlanc, they're very skill-expressive champions. They're champions that you have to do a lot to get an extra percentage point or two out of them. And if these players pull it off, all the more power to them. Then, they went hands checky into a very difficult comp and pulled it off. But, for the most part, at this level, whatever's stable ends up winning. So, we'll see what happens here. I'll give it another minute. I'm going to grab something to drink real quick. Casting 2 series without something to drink. Not a great idea. Perfect timing here. Alright. What do we think? Looking at the chat, I see we got about 20 viewers here, so decent turnout for this late night game. Is this a professional league? No, this is not a uh, air quotes professional league. This is a amateur league with no buy-in. There are skins on the line at the end of it, but this is just a nice free-to-play competitive league for mid to high elo skill brackets. And we give people a place to come, have some fun, play with friends, or try to give themselves a resource to get better. So, nope, not a pro league, but we've been doing this league for about 4 or 5 years now.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
So let's see in the chat who do you think's gonna win this? Give me some predictions here.
Minions have spawned.
Oh, okay. So they faked the ward on Raptors, forced Braum to use Red Trinket. A little bit of mind games. Probably doesn't affect anything in the long run, but decent. I'm curious to see the Aphelios in action. Yeah, I am too. I think it's a champion that gets slept on in the right drafts. I don't think he's like blindable, but I have a former teammate that is an Aphelios main, and when you get people who know how to play that champion, time to combo ults and different guns, the champion is a treat to watch. But he does he does have some a learning curve. See a little bit of trading going on mid lane here. I will say it is kind of in Ari's wheelhouse to kind of put pressure on LeBlanc, but LeBlanc's also one of those champions that can take the pressure and just throw it back in your face. Like, I almost feel like, what's a really good champion like that? Like Syndra, Kled, if you're thinking about it in top lane, Fizz, where it's just like, if you play the trade perfectly, you're going to outstat her, but if not, she can throw it right back in your face. And it looks like we have a early jungle invade here. And a big engage here by Quantum Force Rel. And there's a dive in by Frozen Ace. You've got LeBlanc coming out. She did not distort over the wall here. First Blood goes over to the Ashe here. And we see Ari walking in there. I don't know if she just lost vision and misclicked. But that's 2 kills going over to KCA. One on Lee Sin, one on Ashe. So really decent gold allocation there. With the First Blood going over to Ashe, that is really good for this bot lane. Nice return fire from the Aphelios here. He did bring Conquer, which I think is kind of a staple for most Aphelios players. But Frozen ends up coming in. Quantum queuing to get the slow from the Graviton gun, but I think he ran out of bullets there. He was looking to Q and snare. No, he didn't. But now we get a return coming out for the Braum. Braum ends up falling. Let's see, they end up getting the Feats of Warfare on the Aphelios takedown, but here's Frozen to kind of clean the rest of this up here. And a double kill going over to Frozen. And a refresh on his double buffs as well. So, overall, it ends up being a 3 for 3 with all this bot lane fighting. But Feats of Combat goes over to KCA. We see a Amp Tome coming out of Malphite. So, do we potentially see like a Malignant in the tank Malphite here? I mean, we did see the low-key do the movement speed build on Cho'Gath, so definitely went a little more offensive / utility at the beginning. I mean, I could see it. I could see actually like Glass Cannon Malphite doing some work. I mean, you either build for AP or you're gonna get chopped down by this Aphelios. He now has a full Berserker Greaves here. Let's see where the build goes. I'm very curious. I've seen Roa in the tank. I've seen Malignants in the tank. I've seen straight AP. It's like there's a lot of build expression when it comes to Malphite. And we see Braum coming up here, helping the mid laner clear the wave, getting ready for this grub spawn here in 5 seconds. Lee Sin picks up the Scuttle Crab here. Pink Ward ends up getting rid of that Vision Ward there, so looks pretty good for KCA to get these grubs. I do think that eventually, on the second set of grubs, Forfeit's going to want to end up taking these grubs. LeBlanc has level 6 here. Did not bring Ignite, but it's going to have her spell rotation back up here soon. And a flash out by the Ahri. Ahri is not level 6. We do see Frozen in return taking this Infernal Drake, which that's really good to get off the table here. With early buys on early game champions, the Fire Drake can give you a little bit of increase in stats to like put you over that kill threshold here. That's a lost chapter coming out of Malphite, so I mean, potential solo kit now with the lifesteal and the potion. Nasus is okay. But Lee Sin's kind of posturing that he might do something. LeBlanc passive getting popped here. Let's see, we get another back by Malphite. Going to boots here. I think the boots is a kind of a big tell of where this build's going to go. If it's defensive boots, then it's like AP first LC item in the tank. But if I see sword shoes, I'm hyped at what I basically call is the suicide bomber. Malphite, because you're probably going to die when you go in, but you're taking somebody with you. See, overall, 114 stacks out of this Nasus, so decent stacking. I believe it's roughly 10 a minute for Nasus stacking overall. Decent trade here. Frozen's posturing up top here, so let's see what happens. And Frozen ends up diving in. Nasus burns ult here. He has flash. There goes Malphite ult. And Frozen ends up ulting him in return. So, nice overall gank. Well played by the top side for forfeit at 20 here. Making Nasus burn the flash before Frozen ults him. See, Ari went lasting wands first, but I do see a Ruby Crystal, so gonna be the Roa build. Roa, Riftmaker, Leandry's build coming out of Ari here. Which I think for the most part is pretty correct here. You want to get tanky into LeBlanc. And I do believe, yeah, this is going to be a Malignance into tank on Malphite here. So wanting that ult to be up as much as he can. Q starts to hurt, but that lifesteal out of Nasus is pretty big too. It's quite a bit of damage. We have Grubs coming up in 15 seconds. I think the forfeit at 20 lineup is gonna want to make a move towards this, but we see Malphite getting jumped on. The whole thing is he doesn't want to burn his ult here, because that is a big, big starter for the fights. See Rel coming through here. They're just trading vision coverage here. Ashe ult is going to end up hitting the Malphite here. But Nasus goes in, and the rest of the team gets zoned out. Malphite ult comes out. Rel ult comes out. Big, massive Wombo coming out. With Jarvan ult comes out as well here. And Frozen ends up getting a few more kills. That's 5-1 on Mr. Frozen Ace here. What looked like a good fight start with this long-range Ashe ult ends up turning into a win for FFF20. And they will end up taking 3 of the, well, I mean, you got LeBlanc here. She plays this right. She can burst Frozen quite easily, but Loki comes down to kind of help him. Actually, Lee Sin trying to start up this dragon here. And, yeah, it looks like overall, this is going to be a win for the forfeit at 20 squad. I would think they get a slightly better Drake. They stopped the 6 grubs on kind of the win condition for KCA. And Frozen just being massive on this Jarvan. But we see Braum coming up here. Braum's been doing this quite a bit, where he's Wing to his own minions to do short trades here. But let's see, Quantum Force trying to fight for vision here. Ends up forcing them to drop another ward. Stacks for Nasus are at 186, so doing pretty good in the stack department. I believe it's 10 stacks a minute you want to shoot for, but anything better than that's pretty good. Oh, big engage here by Rel. They end up flashing away, but they don't get out of the Rel ult. Aphelios ult comes down, and he ends up getting stunned here. Frozen's in the wakes, though. Let's see, Aphelios doesn't fall, but looks like a little bit of a client issue there. Frozen ends up dominating now, getting that on Ashe, and actually what ends up being a pretty big TP there by Loki. And so that was all the sums burned from both bot lanes outside of the Ignite here. And Frozen ends up picking up 2 more kills. So that is 7-1 and 2 on this Jarvan here. This Frozen Ace guy's turning back the clock. I know he didn't really have the greatest split last split, but we've all seen Frozen like just dominate some jungle matchups here, and he's putting on a pretty big clinic here. Aphelios is trying to push his wave in, and Braum ends up delaying it enough that Ashe can pick up a little bit of the CS. But I will say that was at least, what, 2 plates taken up top by Nasus here. So that TP did come at a little bit of a cost, but Nasus not, does he have Demolish? No, he has second win unflinching, which is fair. He's into a Malphite matchup. But not having Demolish kind of feels bad. That would have been first turret. And actually, I believe that would have been feats of strength. So, feats of strength are at 2-2 for monsters. And first turret is still alive here. Blue side did have feats of strength for combat. We see Loki getting all in up here by Nasus. But here's Frozen in the wakes. We see the Malignant's ult coming out here. Frozen trying to take down this Nasus, but here comes the LeBlanc. And Frozen ends up taking care of Nasus, but gives over a big shutdown. That was almost 1,000 gold shutdown given over to this LeBlanc. And that's, you know, we kind of discussed with our spectators in the draft, like this LeBlanc can start to really eat up this team comp here. So let's see if she can use this gold. Casper is going to end up spawning bot lane. We see Braum doing another WQ trade to Aphelios. So, I think all in all, we're taking a little snapshot of this game right now. It's 4 kills to 10. Kills and gold in favor of forfeit at 20 here. Grubs are split 3-3. Dragons are split up with an Infernal Drake going over to FF. And KCA picking up a Hex Tech Dragon. We see the Herald getting taken by Frozen. So this could potentially be the monster feats over to the side of FF, which means feats of strength is now going to come down to whoever gets first turret gets feats of strength here. We do see the bot lane putting up a fight here. Rel does move forward, ends up ulting here. Aphelios has chakrams, but doesn't take down the Braum as he went into the brush here. See, Frozen knows that feats of strength is going to come down the turrets. And he tries to end up getting this mid lane turret, but can't. Which means I think we're going to see Ashe pick up. No, it doesn't pick up this bottling turret. So feats of strength still alive here. Forfeit has to close this game out kind of quick. I agree. I I think their spike is too far in the late game. That yeah, I think they want to try to stabilize this game maybe, but they can't really do it until this Malphite gets super tanky. Ari busts out the ult here to get away. See if he can bait over here. Second dragon goes over. That's Ari's third ult charge. Frozen, though, is going to end up trying to go after LeBlanc. Ends up getting lost in the passive. Lee Sin's going to end up having to flash out. Oh, but Malphite ult ends up coming up short. Oh, that's going to be pretty costly. They didn't get any kills, but they do get first turret here. And that is feats of strength going over to FF at 20. And Frozen flashing in to get this Braum. So, a little bit of misplay there from both sides, but all in all, feats of strength going over to forfeit is pretty good. We do see this Nasus, though, starting to kind of run this game with pressure. I mean, he might be able to win this. Like, he's chopping down Frozen quite heavily here. He ends up plus 24 actually on Frozen, and there's another plus 24 coming out. That's a 2v1 from the dog here. And what a Nasus pick here. I mean, they did pick the Malphite into it, so they knew this was coming. And we see more AP coming out of Malphite, so he's like, screw it. I'll group and just dive bomb somebody. I don't think it's the worst call in the world. You just gotta make sure you win these team fights quick enough that Nasus can't apply pressure. Did you see Rel posturing for an engage? You got Frozen right behind you. Traxxas is coming down here with Ari ult. I think... No? Okay, so they don't pull the trigger here. We see Roa ends up having 7 stacks here, so decent Roa timing for Ari. Wasn't delayed on it too much. Big charm coming out of here. Let's see if they end up shutting down LeBlanc. It would have been nice for Ari to get that, but Frozen, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. Gets the shutdown from LeBlanc, so LeBlanc returns the favor. Wasn't as big of a shutdown as what she got off Frozen, but Frozen ends up getting Ashe ulted in the Braum ult, now getting stunned up by Braum's passive. Big stun coming out of here. You do see Aphelios coming up. Aphelios does have ult here, so if they keep wasting cooldowns, I thought Aphelios had a world where he could enter that fight, but Nasus was also down here as well, so maybe it was okay to not take the full-blown fight. You do have Casper up now. The jungler is down, so this could be, for the most part, a free Otacon here. You have red-blue guns on Aphelios, so not the greatest guns, but not the worst ones either. Looks like they're just going to give up this Otacon here. Yep, and that's a Voracious Otacon, so that is the GA Otacon. We've seen it twice this series. Alright, let's see what we got here. So, We got FF at 20 up about 1,000 gold here. They are also up 12 kills, the 9. They are behind on dragon stacking. They do have feats of strength here. So everybody got the free upgrades here. Nasus kind of just being a terror here, but this LeBlanc getting taken out. And with the GA, Otacon getting burned on her, that is potentially this bot or top lane tier 2. So we see the Storm Surge on this Malphite. So now Malphite just fully going into AP, which if he can find good ults, not with the one, I think it's going to be much better on them. Oh, Ashall coming down onto the Rel here. Rel is still pretty tanky. Chakram's coming out for Aphelios. See, they do have decent wave clear. Nasus trying to take this turret. They end up CCing this Nasus here. Aphelios doing what he can. There are GAs out still on most of these members here. So Nasus ends up having to go back to base. I thought there was a world where Malphite could have pulled the ult there and at least getting the GAs off. You still get, I believe it's 150 or 200 gold, even for taking them down with the GAs. But this game's going to have to start falling into the hands of protecting this Aphelios, but he's not gotten the resources or the gold to set himself up to carry these team fights here. So let's see if Forfeit at 20 can kind of delay this a little bit more. You know, KCA is on Soul Point here. So see how this goes. You don't have any MR coming out of Nasus, which I think is fine. We do start to see a Warden's Mail come out of this Malphite, which is, I mean, it's still kind of weird. You went Malignant in the Storm Surge here, so low-key still wanting to get a little tanky to help out his team here. Full Roa Leandries coming out on Ahri. Shadow Flame getting completed by LeBlanc. So we're at this point in time where, like, LeBlanc also can put herself in a position to kind of help carry this fight. Frozen ends up getting Ash ulted here, but no one else is here to really do anything about this. You see the Storm Surge proc going off on Nasus. He takes a bullet of damage, but then he just heals it right up. So this bot lane is going to keep just kind of hemorrhaging CS. I do think Malphite has enough wave clear to kind of delay this, but it's just a ticking time bomb. Decent charm coming out here from Traxxas. But let's see overall what happens. A little bit of ward coverage coming out from Forfeit at 20. But I think it's going to come down to Frozen and Loki finding these engages here with the Rel. And kind of what Mashire hinted at in the chat is, like, they didn't get a far enough lead to where Aphelios can just kind of brute force through a team fight. That now, you know, you've got to defend this Aphelios to give him time to do it. Oh, but you got a nice charm coming out here, and a solo kill coming out of Ahri on this LeBlanc. And LeBlanc does push Ahri around a little bit, but now that Ahri's at this point where she's got fully completed Royal Leandries, this Ahri's got almost 3k HP. Yeah, 3100 HP, so. And with that take, they're starting on Baron right now. You do have TP on Nasus. This could be a 4v5. The walls are kind of a pain in the ass for KCA to walk in. There's Forfeit coming out of Nasus here. Let's see. Traxxas has to flash away. They don't have enough vision to give Malphite like a clear chance to target somebody. I think he has to pull the trigger here eventually. No, they end up just getting the TP out of Nasus. So they're playing it pretty slow. You do have Earth Drake coming up here in 30 seconds. Lee Sin lands a Q, doesn't want to do anything funny. Potentially risk losing this dragon. Is that a, okay, that's a nice Vow on Lee Sin. Interesting there. Don't know if that's standard or if you just go full damage here. But, you see the makings of a Frozen Heart coming out of this Malphite. But let's see here, like, Loki can't walk through, so he's got to take the long way around. Ashe is just sitting here pelting people. And a big engage coming out here from this Rel. Malphite's eventually coming in here. Big Malphite ult ends up taking out the Braum. Frozen solos out the Ashe. Lee Sin falls down, and now it ends up being a 4-for-1 here. Now they're trying to chop down this Nasus. As long as he doesn't Q... Well, too late. He Q'd the Aphelios. Welcome to playing AD carry, guys. Throw everything in the kitchen sink at it, you still die. But that is an ace going over to forfeit at 20 as they lost their bot lane, but took care of the rest of the members of KCA. So big team fight overall. And a Mountain Drake is their reward for that. So they end up stopping the soul point here. And delay this game another 6 minutes, which I think is good. I think Aphelios, if he can get some really good lane farm or even get like a kill off a pick, might be accelerated. And Braum steals the red buff. That's a feels bad. So, you see double Frozen Hearts coming out of forfeit at 20 here. I don't think you need 2 Frozen Hearts. I honestly think you need anti-healing. Like, because eventually, now that you've got Spirit Visage on Nasus, he heals a boatload. Lee Sin has some innate healing. I do think at least a Bramble Vest is helpful here. Maybe you get it on Rel. Build it off this cloth armor in the inventory. But Ashe now on 3 items here. Got Last Whisper coming out by Aphelios, so he's going to get a pen item real soon. Frozen is unleashed this season. I'll tell you what, I won't go that far, but Frozen's reminding people what he can do in this week 1 here. So we'll see if this continues to develop. Aphelios showing mid is kind of risky here. You could get collapsed on. Okay, he does back out. I also thought there was a world where Ashol could come out here. He does not have cleanse up. I don't know if they timed it. But Nasus now has 650 stacks. Woohoo! That's going to do a boatload. That's a 939 damage Q. So, big dog in the bot lane here. But he does have TP. Both top laners do have TP up in case there's a fight. You start to see some upgraded boots coming out of Loki and Frozen here. Tried the EQ combo, but missed the pillar there. Frozen does get out, but Traxxas ends up getting stunned. And all in all, just a trade of some ults there. As that was Ashol, Braum ult for virtually nothing. Oh no, they did get Ariel out. But Frozen did not have flash up. See, Loki, okay, ends up using the Q to steal some movement speed and get out. So, Nasus is just a really, really big time bomb here. See, LeBlanc trying to close in, but a bunch of pings going away as FF was trying to help the Ahri. You see them starting up this Baron here. They do got vision on it. See, are they trying to... They got the TP out of the Nasus here, so I think they back up. Cleanse coming out. Lee Sin! Oh, what a big... Oh, welcome to the game, Lee Sin. Ahri in the back line here trying to get it. TP coming out of the Malphite. But all of the damage dealers have been taken out here. So Lee Sin, who's been pretty quiet this game, gets a big ult onto this Aphelios. And that's a 4-for-1 in favor of KCA. Are they potentially... Okay, so Nasus is pushing this mid tier 2, threatening it. But that is Dragon Soul for them. That's going to be an Earth Soul, which I think is absolutely massive for their team comp. Any additional tanky stats. Like, there's already a fairly low amount of damage on forfeit at 20. So this Earth Drake's just going to make it even harder for them to bust through this. I think the Malphite's AP items are starting to fall off. It looks like they might try and do this Baron super quickly as they backed out. There is an Ashalt comes out, stuns up Frozen here. Aphelios playing in the back pocket. I think this Baron's going to end up being theirs, which is really, really helpful for the side of FF at 20. Just helps delay this game more. You know, we see full Last Whisper item completed by the Aphelios here. And going another crit item. So Aphelios starting to get unlocked here. Because I think he really picks up steam at 4 items. See, third item completed by Ahri here, so she's fully online with Leander's Riftmaker, Roa. Frozen just getting tankier. Now completed Thorn Mail. I look to see if Malphite like maybe sells the Storm Surge and goes like Jack Show or something. But I really think it's hard now for this Malphite to deal with this Nasus at all. It feels like he needs the AP items just to clear the waves against him, but now I think it just doesn't matter. Yes, Storms, or you got Spirit Visage Jack Show. So it's gonna be hard to deal with this Nasus. Yeah, Nasus just shows up on your screen. You gotta burn any mobility tools you can. Nice read by Frozen, seeing where Lee Sin is. With the Baron minions, though, they don't have much wave clear. Like, this LeBlanc's going to start falling off. Yeah, even this Nasus is having some issues with these Baron minions here, so this could be a chance. Oh, but we see the Chakrams start to come out here as Nasus just walked into that Aphelios turret. Aphelios does have blue-white, so has the Chakrams here. See if he wants to stay. Keep some of these Chakram bullets in reserve here. Right now he's trying to burn through them. might chunk this Nasus here. Bramble is used defensively. Alright, Baron just worn off, so decent push coming out of forfeit at 20 here. They got some decent resources here. Nasus now at 800 stacks. Oh, but Ashol coming out onto the Ahri here. She did not react quick enough to ult out of the way. Rel ends up hopping over here. If they get this Aphelios here, this is going to be really bad. Aphelios flashes out, dodges the fourth hit from Braum. Oh, another big kickback from Aphelios, but the rest of his team didn't follow here. So this might be a big, grave mistake coming out of KCA. Malphite TPing. Forfeit at 20, looking to turn this around. Aphelios just kind of free-firing here. They take out Braum, they take out the Ashe. And what ended up being a pick on Ahri turned out to be a miscommunication, continuing the fight here. And that's 3 down for KCA. It's a good insect, but was it necessary? I mean, I think it was a great insect if his team was following here. I don't know what the comms were like, but you know, somebody must have been calling for fight and no one listening, or they just didn't think about it and it happened instinctually. But you know, really good solid fight. You get bot lane tier 2, but I don't think you broke enough of this game open. Victor Apple, what's the score? It is 1-0 in favor of forfeit at 20, which is the red side this game 2 here. Forfeit at 20 is Frozen Ace and his boys. Yeah, this has been a really, really entertaining series. Frozen absolutely putting on a performance overall in Game 1 and the beginning of this Game 2 here. I know Jarvan starting to fall off just a touch, but we have Elder Drake coming up here in 10 seconds. This is going to be a massive fight. So let's see what ends up coming from here. Both teams kind of pushing back and forth on the mid wave. Incoming rock, yeah, and look at the items on this rock. It's a big one. But we do see Earth Drake, or Earth Soul, be given a pretty solid shield here. Nasus in the back, and they just one-shot the Ahri here. The rock is now inside the Jarvan ult. Lee Sin tried to solo Aphelios, but couldn't do it here. Frozen just man-moding the rest of his team. You've got, oh my goodness, what damage on Aphelios. Aphelios takes down the Braum, and now you're walking the dog around here, Frozen. That's a 4-for-4 fight for this Elder Drake, and we virtually just got nowhere. Frozen does have the sweeper. I agree. I thought the damage out of Aphelios was never going to hit the backline, but it turns out when you're stuck between a rock and a Jarvan ult, ADCs just die. Also, like, no, that was through stopwatch as well. Like, this Ashe bot stopwatch, used it, and still died in that whole fight. Frozen trying to solo take this Elder. This Nasus better be careful. You've got the rest of the squad pulling up here, though. You really do need Aphelios to take him down. Runin's Hurricane's a massive pickup. That could be a difference maker in this fight here. Yeah, he survived but got too... He didn't get too close. Nasus rolled up on him. Alright? He did not path anywhere near this Nasus. But Frozen getting some vision with the Demacian standard. Ashe ult ends up splitting the uprights here. So let's see what happens here. We got white-green guns. So we got the chakrams coming out here. Aphelios has a few chakrams going. This is a pretty... Oh my goodness, Loki just died. Big Aphelios saw big Jarvan ult. Oh, Aphelios didn't even use the ult, but he's got chakrams going. Wow. What a massive fight. I lost track of a lot of things there. Braum ends up following. Nice wall there. Frozen ends up knocking up the LeBlanc here, but ends up falling. But that ends up being a 4 for 2, as these fights are just bloody. Yeah, we thought Aphelios was going to look like LCK Ruler here there for a second. But we see LeBlanc TPing in. Does she... Don't tell me. Oh my god, she steals the Elder and gets the kill on Rel. What a clutch steal. Holy shit. Wow. Just full combo bursted the Elder at like 500 HP. Now she's the only one with Elder. So it was a really big takeaway overall. But doesn't really change too much in the impending fight over Baron here. I mean, if they win this kind of an exciting game, I will attempt to say their team name again. Julia having way too much fun with these tags. Oh! That ends up being, yet again, Ari get picked off by this Ashe ult here. These Ashe ults have been on point this whole game. Rel, I don't know if you want to pick that fight. LeBlanc still has Elder buff here, so Frozen trying to do his best to get into this Dragon Pit. And he's just going to end up falling here. What's the Nasus stacks at? Nasus stacks are at 1,017 here. His Q does 1,390 damage. Maybe next game. Yeah, Frozen steals this next game, not this game. And what ends up being a pretty banger of a game for 45 minutes. KCA looking to end this. There is 4 up. LeBlanc does not have TP, so this is going to be in a 4v4. Big ult overall. Aphelios ult comes out. Clears the wave, does a decent amount of damage. This game is not over yet. Aphelios now on full 6 items. He has to upgrade his boots, is the only thing he has left here. Some respect on Amoeba. I mean, I'm putting respect on all 10 of these guys. This has been an absolute banger of a series here. Low-key kind of keeping Amoeba in check here, but they're following. Malphite ult not available here, but Quantum Force is going to end up stunning Amoeba. Here comes one more Ari ult charge coming here. Charm comes out. Q got blocked. Aphelios ends up winning here. But we have a TP coming out of Nasus, so we have a potential 4v5. You have super minions coming up this mid lane here. So could potentially be Winions. But it looks like the FF at 20 squad is backing away. Someone definitely seen the Winions potentially going, so they just thought not to take the fight. Malphite ult is back up. Alright. Let's see. We got Elder back up in 2 minutes, Baron in 3.5. Uh, Ari, it's quicker if you just walk to the fountain. If you have tier 2 boots, anything further than the inhibitor, or from the inhibitor out, you can recall, but it's better to just walk back to the base. I'm not goated, man. Just try to do it for the people. Rurika, you can join in on this game 3. Like, we could have some fun with this. If anybody wants to join in on game 3, I have room. Like, I don't have to do this solo. Badge for me soon next time, CLT. I'll hold you to that, Victor. How about, he can't tell he's telling Marcus how to play a game. I got a 7 a.m. shift. Look, the only reason I'm pulling this off on week 1 is I took vacation time this week. Nothing related to this league. I love you guys, but you ain't that important. It just happened to work out that I got vacation this week, so I want to make sure everybody gets some limelight. We've seen some MR coming out of Loki here. What, that Ash Arrow actually hit? Okay. But Ophelio's chopping down now this Nasus. And Nasus falls here, though they did invest Malphite ult. Rel ult is up. Frozen still has ult as well. LeBlanc does a decent amount of damage to Loki, but he's now expecting some MR here. We see a Death Brush coming. Let's see what happens here. Oh, they end up smacking Frozen in the face here. Aphelios flashes away. He has chakrams going here. Uh-oh, ruler time. And a shutdown going over to Aphelios. Malphite taking care of Braum. And that is going to end up being potentially Elder. Oh, wow, this fight went on long enough. Malphite's ult came back up. I guess when you have Malignance and probably Ultimate Hunter, I would guess. Maybe not. But he's delaying the inevitable. Let's see. No steal, no one in sight. Alright, Frozen. There's your time to shine. You still missed the smite, but that's okay. No one's watching. And that is now a 5-man Elder squad in the face of KCA. And a potential end coming. Again, forfeit at 21 this first game, so this would be the series for them if they take it. And it looks like they will look to end this game. J4 ult comes down. Ruler's trying to do his best to take care of Nasus and eventually does. Both turrets fall, and this will be a dub for forfeit at 20 over KCA. And what was a 51-minute absolute banger of a series here. Holy shit. Let's see if Frozen's on. We have to see if he wants an interview after that one. Holy cow. What a series. Let's go back to the client here. And it looks like we are going to get an interview with our winners here. Oh my lord, look at this damage. Nasus did the most with this Aphelios damage. I know most of this was in the late game, but jeez Louise, what an absolute banger. So much to go through here. But we're going to go down and talk to this forfeit at 20 squad. Yo, what's up?
What's good?
Yo.
Well, I know there's some new players to the league. Why don't you guys introduce yourself first for the stream here?
So you
guys go for it. I'm not new.
I'm technically not new either. I played like one season last year.
Saudi Arabia know that he's not new, bro. Why are you so damn loud?
I completely forgot, bro. Alright, I'm Loki, just a top lane main. Emerald 3. First game went well, so I'm glad to be here, you know what I'm saying?
I'm the best player in France. Inshallah.
Okay.
Then
Yeah.
take carrying runs. You don't got
Yeah.
anything on me. That's up.
Actually, CLT, I think before your time, Farhan was an AD carry on like 2 of my teams before this. So he's played in the league. Just he takes gaps here and there.
The tag does sound familiar. I don't know if he played Rec League or not.
Definitely not this time.
This
But-
tag, no, the freaking the Arabic letters, yeah, that's new. He used to go by Nexus.
Okay, like I said, I think the tag or the name does sound familiar. So
Probably.
um,
Probably.
but man, let's boy, we can just there's so much in that game too. I'm trying to remember game one to be honest.
Let's talk about that Philios though. No, I'm saying let's talk about that Philios first and foremost.
Two
Bro.
rel engagements honest the game, bro. Oh my god, that rel was so hot. Support like just carried our game and left the voice chat, but that was full supportive, bro.
That's
Yeah.
so aura, bro.
I mean,
I know, right?
we're looking at the draft. I thought the Aphelios stood out because he loves to stand his ground, but yet the other four members are just like, "Hey, bye," and they just go engage.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting, though. The Aphelios never got ahead, so it felt like you guys were on a little bit of a timer until the Elder Drakes kind of came into
Yeah.
play. Though we got to talk to Frozen, bro.
Can I just say? Let me just say, I was already building Frozen, and then Anna was like, "Yeah, I'm building Frozen Heart." I'm like, "Oh shit, I can't settle it now."
Yeah, I seen both Frozen Hearts, and I'm like, this Nasus is unleashed. Like, why no
Yeah.
AP healing?
Yeah, I went Thornmail. I think right after that, but
Yeah.
It's funny because I was looking to build Thornmail last item, and I thought he already had it, and so I guess both of us are just looking at each other's builds without talking, and we're just building the same shit.
yeah, unfortunate. But I will say that I think as far as affiliates goes, I think that it was more of a comfort pick than anything. But we kept that attention away from affiliates for that one fight, and I think it won us the game. Honestly.
I think it also helped as like a late game contingency.
Yeah, late. I was just gonna say late game. Ash is like, I mean, she's obviously Ash Brown's like go to level 1. But like after that, like we're definitely stronger. Like our Wombo is insane late game. All we need is one rel or Malphite ulti, and then everyone just face rolls and we win.
Was
That's what happened.
was Malphite ever eventually going to sell the AP items to go full tank, or were you just committed?
Yeah. No. Yeah, right after I saw my ult was doing Jack shit. I mean Jack, I was like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I was done. I was gonna sell it right after, but we ended up winning the game before I had the chance to do that. So
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a humble brag guy.
what can I say?
Yeah, I do gotta ask, what was the comms like when LeBlanc stole that Elder Drake?
Oh brother.
Frozen just like gave us this like sigh. He was just like,
It literally went, come on, guys.
He's like, come on, guys.
It came out of my mouth.
Oh my god.
Mhm.
It was like a 1 HP. I saw it hit 1. I was like, oh no.
Once they hit one, it's over. We lost.
I was just sitting there like looking at, I was casting it. I'm like, it's 500, it's 3. Oh shit! Like the moment I see like 300, I'm like, this LeBlanc is literally just gonna QR it and kill it.
Yeah.
But
If their whole team got it, I don't know if we could have like held out.
Yeah.
I do think that's what saved you guys is like only LeBlanc had it, even though I think she got 2 kills while you guys were defending the base off Elder. But it
Yeah.
just you guys had so much more wave clear that you could deal with it. I think if they ever got like a stable Baron and it was impossible for you guys to wave clear, then it would have been different. But I don't think they got a hold of any Barons, so good on you
They got
guys
the
for
one. So they got after LeBlanc stole the Elder, they got the Baron.
that. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, as you mentioned, the wave clear. Rel ulted the wave, and then between Aphelios and Ari, the wave just melted even with Baron.
Uh-huh.
I think it was just me and Rel defending, but they took like half the tower and they just to leave. Like I think we were like, I don't know how we defended that pretty well, to be honest.
I think Malphite was also coming up in like 2 seconds, so I think they just got scared.
Yeah, LeBlanc came bot. I went back to defending, and yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Well, what a series here for week 1, man. Holy
Hey,
shit.
started off hot.
Hey, first time we played together, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say anything, but we haven't had one practice.
No scares, no nothing. But you know what I'm saying? Well, what you know, gotta get the blood pressure high.
Oh, I mean, you left the chat like just going off, especially that Baron steal the defense. What was it? It was the jungle fight around like the blue buff Wolves wall, where like the Aphelios ulted, had 1,000,000 chakrams, and just went full like LCK on them.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna
Yo,
be
calling
calling
me useless for nothing, bro.
Bro, Rika was in the chat just all capping, ruler, ruler.
That's my ruler. That's Pace Junior right there.
Pace Jr. I love it. I love it. All right,
Yes, sir.
gentlemen. But absolute banger of a series. Glad we got to showcase you guys. We'll definitely see what games we can get else when the rest of the weeks go. But absolute
Yes,
banger.
sir.
I loved what I seen from both teams.
Thank
So,
you.
but
Pleasure.
Thank
Pleasure.
you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Frozen turning back the clock a little bit. In this
Coming out of
series.
retirement.
I mean, there was some people saying washed up after last season, but I held the banner strong. I'm like, he's gonna come back. So thank you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Alrighty, gentlemen. Well, it was an absolute pleasure. Congrats on the win, and can't wait to see you guys going forward.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Appreciate
And
it.
Thank you.
I'll tell Mage to check out the series on Saturday when he's gigging.
There you go. Sounds good.
All right,
Sick.
take care, boys.
All right, brother. Have a
All
good
right,
one.
you as well.
Good night. Good night.
Have a good night.
And there we go. That was our winners. FF at 20 featuring Frozen Ace. And an absolute banger of a series. That game 2 going 51 minutes. Couple of Elder Drakes, boatload of Barons, everything. So Kappachungus, Clungus, Amongus. Yep, I'll say it one more time. That was my one more time. Falls 2-0 to forfeit at 20, but I loved what I seen out of both squads. So it's gonna make this this group B. Actually, sorry, yeah, Group B. Really, really entertaining to watch. So we did have another series that was going on. I'll try to see if I can get that casted or at least post a lot of it on the YouTube channel, and we'll let you guys know on the server. But until then, keep grinding, and we'll see you guys next time.